Hello, hello, hello. Once again, my name is Isabel. I am here to read with you and most importantly, read, grow, and just get better at life, for the financial freedom part of Read With Me is that we're doing here at Billionaire. We are diving deeper into Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you have not heard the part 1 of chapter 8 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, go ahead and take a look at it. Have a listen. There were so many golden nuggets. It was ridiculous. Not only that, but I did share a couple of some internal stuff that came up while I was reading, because it's one thing that happens when you're reading. When you're reading out loud, something happens where you're really able to understand what you're saying, and you're really able to identify the key things that are happening within your brain. You're able to connect them into specific moments in your life that correlate to what you just read. So I was really able to dig deeper in that chapter, and I shared it with you guys, which is awesome. It's nice to be vulnerable, and it's really refreshing to have a platform like this that not only allows myself to be open and honest with you guys and transparent, obviously, but for those that don't have that, remember that you're not alone. And if you're doing this alone, whether it is growing your business or trying to learn financial literacy, or you're trying to grow and you're doing it alone, one, kudos for you. You're doing something that's awesome. And then number two, you don't have to do it alone. It's a choice. It's an option. You always have options. You always have a choice. If you would like to be part of an amazing organization, community full of entrepreneurs, billionairettes from all over the world that are committed to their personal and financial freedom, I encourage you to check out the description below, because that is where all of the amazing details of the Billionaire Inner Circle are. And it's an incredible group of people that are in that group, consistently sharing their insights, consistently showing up for their greatness, and holding each other accountable, because that's really, really important. Just like Robert said in chapter 8 part 1, self-discipline is probably the hardest skill that a human can develop. And once that is developed, you are really able to take life to the fullest extent, or how they would say in Texas, grab life by the horns. So if you are not grabbing life by the horns, then you probably are lacking some self-discipline. And not to say that I have it all figured out. I definitely don't. That is one of the things that I'm excited for, to consistently develop within myself. That self-discipline, that courage to go out there and get it, even when I don't want to, or I don't feel like it. All of that. So I'm so excited to dive deeper, because I feel like it's going to get even better as we finish it off here, chapter 8. In chapter 8, it was really cool because he actually shares 10 steps to process your God-given powers. And he mentions that these are all powers that you have control over. But if you are able to master these 10, you are able to unlock your God-given powers. I agree with Robert on that. I believe that we do all have God-given powers. We just need to tap into them. So from chapter 8 part 1, we did 1 through 5. And now we're going to go into 6 through 10. And super pumped about this, because we are about to get into it. And without further ado, get your book out or get on that treadmill, do what you got to do, stay tuned and listen in because it's about to go down. Chapter 8, Part 2. Number 6, pay your brokers well. The power of a good advice. Sometimes I see people posting a sign in front of their house that says, "For sale by owner." Or I see people on TV claiming to be discount brokers. My rich dad taught me to take the opposite approach. He believed in paying professionals very well, and I have adopted that policy also. Today, I have expensive attorneys, accountants, real estate brokers, and stockbrokers. Why? Because if, and I do mean if, the people are professionals, their services should make you money. And the more money that they make, the more money I make. We live in the information age. Information is priceless. A good broker should provide you with information, as well as the time to educate you. I have several brokers who do that for me. Some taught me when I had little or no money, and I am still with them today. What I pay a broker is tiny comparison with what the kind of money I can make because of the information they provide. I love it when my real estate broker or stockbroker makes a lot of money because that usually means that I've made a lot of money too. A good broker saves me time in addition to making me money. Like when I bought the vacant land for $9,000 and sold it immediately for over $25,000 so I could actually buy my Porsche quicker. A broker is my eyes and ears in the market. They're there every day, so I do not have to be. I'd rather play golf. People who sell their house on their own must not value their time much. Why would I want to save a few bucks when I could use that time to make more money or spend it with those who I love? What I find funny is that so many poor and middle class people insist on tipping restaurants help 15 to 20%, even for bad service, but complain about paying a broker 3 to 7%. They enjoy tipping people in the excess column, in the expense column, and stiffing people in the asset column. That is not financially intelligent. Keep in mind that not all brokers are created equal. Unfortunately, most brokers are only salespeople. They sell, but they themselves own little to no real estate. There is a tremendous difference between a broker who sells houses and a broker who sells investments. The same is true for stock, bond, and mutual fund and insurance brokers who call themselves financial planners. When I interview any paid professional, I first find out how much property or stocks they personally own and what percentage they pay in taxes. And that applies to my tax attorney as well as my accountant. I have an accountant who minds his own business. His profession is accounting, but his business is real estate. I used to have an accountant who was a small business accountant, but he had no real estate. I switched because we did not love the same business. Ooh, that is a strong. Find a broker who has your best interests at heart. Many brokers will spend the time educating you, and they could be the best asset you find. Just to be fair, and most of them will be fair to you. If all you can think about is cutting their commissions, then why should they want to help you? It's just simple logic. As I said earlier, one of the best management skills that you can learn is actually the management of people. Many people only manage people if they feel like they are smarter and they have power over you. Many middle managers remain middle managers, failing to get promoted because they know how to work with people below them, but not with people above them. The real skill is to manage and reward the people who are smarter than you in some technical area. That is why companies have a board of directors. You should have one too. That is financial intelligence. Number 7, Be an Indian giver. The power of getting something for nothing. When the first European settlers came to America, they were taken aback by a cultural practice some American Indians had. For example, if a settler was cold, the Indian would give the person a blanket, mistaking it for a gift. The settler was often offended when the Indian asked for it back. The Indians also got upset when they realized the settlers did not want to give it back. That is where the Indian term Indian giver came from, a simple cultural misunderstanding. In the world of the asset column, being an Indian giver is vital to wealth. The sophisticated investor's first question is, how fast do I get my money back? They also want to know what they get for free, also called a piece of the action. That is why the ROI, or return on investment, is so important. For example, I found a small condo that was in foreclosure a few blocks from where I lived. The bank wanted $60,000, and I submitted a bid for $50,000, which they took simply because along with my bid was a cashier's check for $50,000. They realized I was serious. Most investors would say, aren't you tying up a lot of cash? Would it not be better to get a loan on it? The answer is not in my case. My investment company uses this condo as a vacation rental in the winter months when the snowbirds come to Arizona. It rents for $2,500 a month for 4 months out of the year. The rental during the off season, it only rents $1,000 a month. I had my money back in about 3 years. Now I own this asset, which pumps money out for me month in and month out. The same is done with stocks. Frequently, my broker calls and recommends I move a sizable amount of money into the stock of a company that he feels is just about to make a move that will add value to the stock, like announcing a new product. I will move my money in for a week to a month while the stock moves up. Then I pull my initial dollar amount out and stop worrying about the fluctuations of the market because my initial money is back and ready to work on another asset. So my money goes in, then it comes out, and I own an asset that was technically free. True, I have lost money in many occasions, but I only play with money I can afford to lose. I would say on an average 10 investments, I hit home runs on 2 or 3, while the 5 or 6 do nothing. I lose on 2 or 3, but I limit my losses to only the money I have in at that time. People who hate risk put their money in the bank. In the long run, savings are better than no savings, but it takes a long time to get your money back. And in most instances, you don't get anything for free with it. On every one of my investments, there must be an upside, something for free, like a condominium, a mini storage, a piece of free land, a house, a stock, some kind of office building. There must be limited risk or a low risk idea. There are books devoted entirely to the subject, so I will not talk about it here, but Ray Kroc of McDonald's, he sold hamburger franchises, not because he loved hamburgers, but because he wanted the real estate under the franchise for free. So wise investors must look at more than just the ROI. They look at the assets they get for free once they get their money back. That is financial intelligence. Use assets to buy luxuries. This is number 8. A friend's child has been developing a nasty habit of burning a hole in his pocket. Just at 16, he wanted his own car. The excuse was all his parents gave their kids cars. The child wanted to go into his savings and use it for a down payment. That was when the father called me, and I then came to see him. "Do you think I should let him do it, or should I just buy him a car?" I answered, "It might relieve the pressure in the short term, but what have you taught him in the long term? Can you use this desire to own a car and inspire your son to learn something?" Suddenly the lights went on and he hurried home. 2 months later, I ran into my friend again. "Does your son have his new car?" I asked. "No, he doesn't, but I gave him $3,000 for the car. I told him to use my money instead of his college money." "Well, that's generous of you," I said. "Not really. The money came with a hitch." "So what's the hitch?" I asked. "Well, first we played your cash flow game. We then had a long discussion about the wise use of money. After that, I gave him a subscription to the Wall Street Journal and a few books on the stock market." "Then what?" I asked. "What was the catch?" I told him that the $3,000 was his, but he could not directly buy a car with it. He could use it to find a stockbroker and buy and sell stocks. Once he made $6,000 with the $3,000, the money would be his for the car, and the $3,000 would go back into his college fund. Interesting. "And what are the results?" I asked. "Well, he got lucky early in his trading, but lost everything a few days later. Then he got really interested. Today, I would say he is down $2,000, but his interest is up. He has read all the books I bought him, and he's gone to the library to get more. He reads the Wall Street Journal miraculously, watching for indicators. He's got only $1,000 left, but his interest in learning are sky high. He knows that if he loses that money, he walks for 2 more years. But he does not seem to care. He even seems uninterested in getting a car because he's found a game that is more fun." "What happens if he loses all the money?" I asked. "We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'd rather have him lose everything now than wait till he's our age to risk losing everything. And besides, that is the best $3,000 I've ever spent on his education. What he is learning will serve him for life, and he seems to have gained a new respect for the power of money. As I said earlier, if a person cannot master the power of self-discipline, it is best not to try to get rich. I say this because although the process of developing cash flow from an asset column is easy in theory, but what's hard is the mental fortitude to direct money into the correct use." Oof. That one. That is the line. I freaking love that. That's like a whole, wow. If a person cannot master the power of self-discipline, it is best not to try to get rich. I say this because although the process of developing cash flow from an asset column is easy in theory, what's hard is the mental fortitude to direct money to the correct use. Due to external temptations, it is easier in today's consumer world to simply blow money out of the expense column. With weak mental fortitude, that money flows into the paths of least resistance. That is the cause of poverty and financial struggle. The following example illustrates the financial intelligence needed to direct money to make more money. If we give 100 people $10,000 at the start of the year, I believe that at the end of the year, 80 would have nothing left. In fact, many would have created greater debt by making a down payment on a car, refrigerator, electronics, or even a holiday. 16 would have increased that $10,000 by 5 to 10%, and 4 would have actually increased it to $20,000 or even into millions. We go to school to learn a profession so we can work for money. It is my opinion that just as it's important to learn how to have money work for you. I love my luxuries as much as anyone else. The difference is I don't buy them on credit. It's the keep up with the Jonas trap. When I wanted to buy a Porsche, the easy road would have been to call up my banker and get a loan. Instead of choosing to focus on my liability column, I chose to focus on my asset column. As a habit, I used my desire to consume my inspiration and motivate me into my financial genius so I can further invest. Too often today, we focus on borrowing money to get the things that we want instead of focusing on how to create money. One is easier in the short term, but harder in the long term. It's a bad habit that we have as individuals and as a nation we have gotten into. Remember, the easy road often becomes hard, and the harder often becomes easy. The earlier you can train yourself and those you love to be masters of money, the better. Money is a powerful force. Unfortunately, people use the power of money against themselves. If your financial intelligence is low, money will run all over you. It will be smarter than you. If money is smarter than you, you will work for it all of your life. To be the master of money, you need to be smarter than it. The money will do as it's told. It will obey you. Instead of you being a slave to it, you will be the master of it. That is financial intelligence. Number 9. That was really good, huh? That was great. Number 9. Choose heroes, the power of myth. When I was a kid, I greatly admired Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, and Yogi Berra. They were my heroes, and I wanted to be just like them. I treasured their baseball cards. I knew their stats, the RBIs, the ERAs, their batting averages, how much they got paid, and how much they came up from the minor leagues. As a 9-year-old kid, when I stepped up on the bat, I played first base or a catcher. I wasn't me though. I pretended I was one of the famous baseball players. It's one of the most powerful ways we learn, and we often lose that as we become adults. We lose touch to our heroes. Today, I watch young kids playing basketball near my home. On the court, they're not little Johnny. They're pretending to be their favorite basketball hero. Copying or emulating heroes is the true power of learning. Copying or emulating heroes is the true power of learning. I have new heroes as I grow older. I have golf heroes. I copy their swing, and I do my best to read everything I can about them. I also have heroes such as Donald Trump, Warren Buffett, Peter Lynch, George Soros, and Jim Rogers. I know their stats just like I knew the ERAs and the RBIs of my childhood baseball heroes. I follow what Warren Buffett invests in, and I read anything that I can about his point of view on the market and how he chooses stocks. And I read about Donald Trump trying to find out how he negotiates and puts a deal together. Just as I was not me when I was up at bat, when I'm in the market or negotiating a deal, I am subconsciously acting with the bravado and the confidence of Trump. Or when analyzing a trend, I look at it as though I'm Warren Buffett. By having these heroes, we tap into a tremendous source of raw genius. But heroes do more than simply inspire us. Heroes make things look easy. Making it look easy convinces us to want to be just like them. If they can do it, so can I. When it comes to investing, too many people make it sound hard. Instead, find heroes who make it look easy. That's strong. When it comes to investing, too many people make it look and sound hard. Instead, find heroes who make it look easy. It's good. Number 10. Teach, and you shall receive. The power of giving. Both of my dads were teachers. My rich dad taught me a lesson I have carried all of my life: the necessity of being charitable or giving. My educated dad gave me lots of his time and knowledge, but almost never gave away money. He usually said that he would give when he had some extra money, but of course, there was rarely any extra. My rich dad gave money as well as education. He believed firmly in tithing. If you want something, you first need to give, he would always say. When he was short of money, he gave money to his church or to his favorite charity. If I could leave one single idea with you, is that idea. Whenever you feel short or in need of something, give what you want first, and it will come back in buckets. That is true for money, a smile, love, or friendship. I know it is often the last thing a person may want to do, but it has always worked for me. I trust that principle of reciprocity is true, and I give what I want. I want money, so I give money, and it comes back in multiples. I want sales, so I help someone else sell something, and sales come to me. I want contacts, and I help someone else get contacts. Like magic, contacts come back to me. I heard a saying years ago that went, God does not need to receive, but humans need to give. That's interesting. This whole paragraph is really powerful. My rich dad would often say, poor people are more greedy than rich people. He would explain that if a person was rich, that person was providing something that other people wanted. In my life, whenever I have felt needy or short of money or short of help, I simply went out or found in my heart what I wanted and decided to give it first. And when I gave, it always came back. It reminds me of the story of the guy sitting with firewood in his arms on a cold, freezing night. He is yelling at the pot-bellied stove, when you give me some heat, then I'll put some wood in you. And when it comes to money, love, happiness, sales, and contacts, all one needs to do is give first. Often, just the process of thinking of what I want and how I could give that to someone else breaks free a torrent of bounty. Whenever I feel that people aren't smiling at me, I simply begin to smile and say hello. And just like magic, the next thing I know, I'm surrounded by smiling people that are saying hello to me. It is true that your world is only a mirror of you. So that's why I say, teach and you shall receive. I have found that the more I teach those who want to learn, the more that I learn. If you want to learn about money, teach it to someone else. A torrent of new ideas and finer distinctions will come in. There are times when I have given and nothing has come back, or what I have received is not what I wanted. But upon closer inspection and soul searching, I was often giving to receive in those instances, instead of giving for the joy that was giving itself what it brings. My dad taught teachers and he became a master teacher. My rich dad always taught young people his way of doing business. In retrospect, it was their generosity with what they knew that made them smarter. There are powers in the world that are much smarter than we are. You can get there on your own, but it's easier with the help of the powers that be. You only need to be generous with what you have. And that is part 2 of chapter 8. Truly unbelievable. If you want to receive more, you have to give. If you want something specifically, you have to give that of what you want. If I want more sales, help someone with sales. If you want more money, give money. It will always come back to you. And with that, we will see each other very, very soon, because chapter 9 is going to be amazing. Talk to you soon. Check out chapter 8, part 1 to get the full scoop of everything that we went over.